Hey Motorcycle.com YouTube viewers. Today we have two 675cc inline 3-cylinder Streetfighters, the Triumph Street Triple R and the MV Agusta Brutale 675. Joining me today is professional hooligan Sean Maddock. We're out here in one of the tightest canyons we could find in Southern California to put these two bikes to the test and find out which one is the better Streetfighter. This is the 2013 Triumph Street Triple R model. It's the upgraded version. One of the big things this has over the standard Street Triple and the MV we're testing it against today is fully adjustable suspension, both front and rear. Another big thing that we noticed is this has a radial mount front brake master cylinder. The stopping power on this is immense compared to the MV. Much better control and feel at the lever. And it takes about twice the pressure on the MV as it did the Triumph to get the thing to slow down quickly. The other 3-cylinder 675cc bike in this shootout is the MV Agusta Brutale 675. The brakes on the MV, while they are Brembos, they're not monoblock calipers. They're not providing the same type of stopping quality that we had on the Triumph, but that's largely due to the lack of the radial mount front brake master cylinder. At the rear of the MV, we have this beautifully done 3-stacked exhaust, very recognizable for this machine. It's on the Brutales, it's on the F3s. We also have a single-sided rear swing arm back here, which the Triumph does not. You know, ultra sexy. So we've banged a lot of gears through a lot of canyon miles today. Both of these Streetfighters have performed very well. I don't think somebody would be necessarily unhappy, you know, putting their money down on either one of these, but some strengths and some weaknesses did come up. Sean, what did you find between riding these two bikes today?
It really becomes a question of, you know, to me anyway, like what's your preference in a bike? You know, do you go more with your head and what's going to be comfortable and refined, or do you go with your heart, what's going to excite you every time? Obviously, I think the MV would be the one that was the more exciting ride. The Triumph's probably the more comfortable, practical ride. From an engineering standpoint, maybe even a better executed bike. But I don't know, man. That MV makes me smile every time, even when it's, you know, making an error, so to speak. So I think if it was my money, I would probably go with the MV over the Triumph.
So even though the Triumph has fully adjustable suspension and the MV has none, the MV does have some rider modes. It does have traction control, where the Triumph does not have traction control, but the MV is $1,000 more, so you could justify spending $1,000 more on the MV over the Triumph.
You know, if I was doing an objective scorecard on these two bikes, the Triumph would probably come out the winner because, like I said, it does certain things better, but it's also, you know, it's not just everything is objective, it's also how a bike makes you feel, and that MV makes me feel like, you know, I'm 16 again, motocross racing or what have you, but on these back canyon roads, it's just a lot of fun. The Triumph goes just as fast through them, but it's kind of a more sedate, practical ride. If I was going to buy the MV, I'd probably think about, you know, throwing a little money at it to get it to function the way I'd want. It's going to be a lot more expensive, I think, to try and put, you know, that whole electronic suite on the bike that doesn't come with it. But upgrading your suspension, upgrading to, you know, a radial master cylinder is doable.
But again, just from everyday use, you know, the Triumph's more compliant, I think a little bit more comfortable. Not quite the same character as the MV, well, from what you're saying. You know, if you're just riding around town, you want to launch wheelies and screw around and jump curbs and just, you know, be a hooligan, I think the MV is the way to go. The front end on the MV is twitchy, no matter what. Yes, the steering damper could help on that. And I would think that, you know, an experienced rider, you know, could appreciate and handle the MV's characteristics more. The MV does have, you know, much lower gearing than Triumph. The Triumph's first gear is incredibly tall, and coupled with the power, it puts out about 6 more horsepower, you know, than the Triumph does on the dyno. But yeah, that thing hits 8,000 RPM. You keep it on the boil, and man, I mean, the front end's coming up, and just everything's crazy, and it's a lot of fun. But the Triumph, on the other hand, you know, for the money, the $1,000 savings, man, you know, that's going to speak loads to me, and I could spend my money more appreciatively with the Triumph than I could the MV, I think.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing anything with you're saying either, Tom. I mean, like, objectively, I think I'd have to pick the Triumph for the reasons you're stating, but subjectively, in terms of just which one gets me more excited, you know, which one gives me a feeling about the bike, it'd be the MV. You know, again, it's just the question of, you know, what's the most important thing for you in a motorcycle package, passion or functionality?
Well, there you go. I mean, if you don't mind spending $1,000 more, the MV is going to tug at your heartstrings, and that would be the bike to buy. If you're maybe a little bit more sensible about motorcycle purchase and want something more well-rounded, the Triumph's probably your machine. You've watched the video? Now go read the story. Motorcycle.com.